Well, rip the Saturn. The tensioner, the belt tensioner, literally exploded in half. I'll show you that later. That caused the belt to jump off. So no water pump spinning, no power steering, no alternator, none of that. And it got hot. And it ended up cracking the radiator out, blew the radiator, lost all the coolant. The temperature went past H. Now my mom's been driving this. This is her car now. And unfortunately this happened to her, and hopefully the engine's okay. I already put on a new belt tensioner, and then that's when I learned that the radiator was cracked. So we're kind of stranded right now. Got a tow coming. Meanwhile, let's start taking out whatever we can for the radiator, because we know at minimum we're gonna need to replace that. I'm a little worried about the head since it's aluminum. Hopefully we didn't crack it because it got hot. But yeah, let's start taking stuff off, like this air cleaner and whatnot. With the air cleaner out of the way, we can get a good view of what happened here. Yep, that is the radiator split in half. Now, doing some quick research, it seems that this is actually the weak point in the radiator, and it's pretty common to get pinholes here. So it makes sense that this would just burst when it got way over pressurized. Next step to removing the radiator is removing the cooling fan. So I just unplugged the O2 sensor where it plugs into the harness that's connected here. I guess I didn't need to do that because I can just pop that off. And there's one more clip over here. And then now we can just take this out of its holding thing. And there we go, that's free. Now down at the bottom, okay, yeah, down at the bottom is where it plugs into the fan motor. So let's get that unplugged. Need a screwdriver or something to pop that tab open. Down here. There we go, one-handed. All right, so there's our harness, and I believe that should be everything for this. Now this should pop up. There we go, there's one clip. And this side has a bolt, I think it's a 10mm. Undo the 10mm in this clip here, and that should be the only bolt for the cooling fan. Now with that bolt removed, this just kind of flops up, and now we can fish it out of here. Just get it up and over the transmission lines, and then the AC line, and up from above. We're good. At this point, I'm going to stop here. I don't want to make a huge mess in the parking lot, and I don't have any way to support the condenser once I remove this. So we're just going to leave it here. We'll pick back up once the tow truck brings us home. The car has been towed to my house. Luckily, the tow truck didn't take too long. And yeah, so now let's start diving into what we have left to do. So obviously the radiator hoses, upper and lower, both of those. We want to remove that petcock, let it drain out what little is still in there. So let's do that. So if you can fit your hand in there and turn the petcock, go ahead. However, we have to remove this since this is an automatic transmission. So let's start doing that. I'll make it easier to drain as well. So there is the push pin clip right here. Once you got that removed, there's another one on the front, and then same thing on that side. One on the front, one on the back. And here it comes. We'll just set this aside. And just for reference, the bigger ones were in the back. The smaller head push clips go in the front. Petcock's open, it's draining. As you can see, it's destroyed. It's just started crumbling and twisting as I was pulling it, so it needed to be replaced anyways. So let's go ahead and remove these radiator hoses. I'll start with this lower one, and it's the warm style clamp. Now let's give it a little twist. Oh yeah, this is coming off. And now off it comes. So for this one, I'm just going to use a ratchet. I got a 9/32 socket on here. It's interesting because you know, since it's the warm style, that someone's replaced this. Now if you replaced it, why would you put it straight down like this to make it so difficult to get to? I don't understand. And again, give it a little twist. Oh, this one's already ready to go. Now lastly, since this is an automatic transmission, we have transmission cooler lines going through the radiator, so we have to remove that. I have a flare nut wrench here. This is 1/2 inch, so this is probably metric, so you probably need a 13, but this will do the trick. And you need to loosen it, but it's on there pretty good, so let's double wrench. There we go. Oh, broke that loose. Man, that was on there tight. Don't think it's supposed to be that tight. There we go. And a trick here, just to make sure I don't drip any transmission fluid, taking a glove here, sticking it in, and a zip tie. There we go. Now that's not going to leak on me while I'm waiting for the part to come. Jeez. Guess I should have realized, once I removed that bottom line, it just drained all that transmission fluid that was in the radiator out. It's not that much, but yeah, definitely have a pan there. So lastly, we have brackets, upper brackets. They are 10 millimeters. So let's get them off. That one's loose, and now one right here. And almost skipped a step. Underneath, we have to unbolt the condenser from the radiator. So let's see if I can fit this in. Oh yeah. Ratcheting wrench makes easy work of this. So same thing here, but it's behind this AC line right there. So a little tighter to get to, but we can do it. Okay, 2 condenser bolts removed. Now we should be able to just move this out. If I take the bracket out, yep, there we go. So that's moving. Now I think we have to press up, yep, just like that, because of how it sits into the car. There we go. Condenser's just falling down, but that's normal. And now we can just lift this straight on out of here. And there the radiator is out. And I just zip tied the condenser so it's just not flopping down since nothing's holding it in anymore. And yeah, at this point we're ready to just throw the new radiator in. So yeah, I'd say this radiator is cracked. That is massive, even on this side. So normally they pinhole right about here, but just so much pressure just popped it. Crazy. New radiators here. Let's do a quick compare before we start throwing this in. So it looks like these brackets come off and get swapped onto there. Okay. Okay, that works. So far on this side, we're going to need to transfer over this for the wire harness. Oh, this is a rubber mount too. That needs to go just like that. Okay. We have a new petcock, which is great. Same thing on this side. We'll transfer. Oh, the rubber actually stayed in the car on that one, so that's fine. We do need to take these clips out, put that over, and then the next thing I'm looking at is these transmission lines. They are different. Here's a quick view of it. That is different. These come out with a nice tap. There we go. And then just transfer it onto the new one. We can hit it in if we have to. Let's go ahead and install. I'm leaving the cardboard on just to protect the fins while we try to get this in there. Watch out for the coolant radiator hoses. Gotta push them around and out of the way a little bit. Okay. Wiring harness on this side. Up and around, okay. Doing good on that side. There we go, that's in. It does. Yeah, that looks like a better match. Here it goes, nothing. There's like an O-ring in here. Now I'm going to cut this. Right. Okay. Let's get this cardboard out of the way. Go from the bottom, or rip it from the bottom and then pull up. Okay, and then we have this from the old radiator, and we're just gonna slide it in, and it just sits on top. Just acts as a little barrier. Lower rad hose on. Let's get our upper. Okay. Now for getting the condenser snapped into place, well, it doesn't actually snap. You just kind of lift up, hold up, and then tighten the bolt on the bottom. Two-hand job. And just like that, we are basically all back together, minus the splash shield down there and the air box. Leaving this off because I want to make sure the transmission lines don't leak. That's my only question mark so far. Everything else, we're all good. Let's start it up, fill it up with some water, and let's see if we can get some heat in this. Just shut it down. We didn't really have any issues with the transmission lines. However, this one's leaking. I don't think it's seated all the way on the bottom. So gonna loosen it, push it in more, tighten it. That should be good. Getting a little concerned because I'm seeing some white in the coolant. Now, there was just the universal orange antifreeze in here. It can make a white, but that's a lot of white. So see here it's running. The bleeding method is pretty simple on these cars. Since this is the highest point, just leave the cap off, keep topping it off. Whoa, I'm just noticing this cap split. That's how insanely pressurized it was. So I need a new radiator cap. Anyways, so you just leave the cap off. I got it on high heat right now on the inside. And we're just gonna keep an eye on our temperature gauge. The thermostat should have just opened. Give it a little bit of gas. Make sure you have heat. I have really hot heat. That's good. Gonna hold the RPMs, let it heat up. We want it to get close to that halfway point. That would be perfect. Alright, while it's doing its thing, let's take another check. It is really frothy, but it's white. I don't like that. That's not making me feel good. As far as the radiator job goes, that's it. We're done basically. Once it fully comes up to temperature, we fully bleed it, we're done. Good in a while, and it seems to be staying blue. Just went and picked up the cheapest coolant reservoir cap they had at the parts store. Threw that on. We're getting back up to temperature. Gonna take it for a little drive here. Well, it drives good and it's not overheating. So lastly, you want to get the temperature, get the transmission up to temperature, shift it through every gear. This is just to make sure that the fluid is pumping all the way through it. Alright, now with the idling and park, let's check the transmission level. And we're still pretty much right there at the okay. We just kicked on the cooling fan at 5/8 on the gauge. It's running. And no leaks. Fan just kicked off. We should be just under half now. Yep. Alright, so cooling system's working. I'm gonna shut it off. And with the engine off so you can hear me better, we are just below the max line. So you hardly lose anything, and really I don't need to add anything back because we're still within the tolerance just fine. So I'm actually gonna leave it as is. Now before I end this, thinking again about that frothiness, it's obviously not oil. We just proved that the cooling system's working. I'm not down on power, not misfiring, nothing like that. So the other thing it could be, what I'm thinking, is the transmission fluid. All the detergents from that, how it got super hot. It mixed. I mixed in some distilled water, and I think that combination just kind of bubbled up the detergents, basically, like the soap in it. So I'm going off of that. I think that's all it is. However, I'm still going to drain it. Since I did just put distilled water in, I'm going to drain it and put in a 50-50 mix of antifreeze. I'll do that off camera though. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Maybe we got lucky. If you see another video that says otherwise, then I guess we didn't, but seems like we got lucky, and all it was just a radiator, reservoir cap, and then the tensioner that I did off of camera. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.